this is GameBro64. I am bringing you guys a tutorial setup, or not a tutorial setup, but a 125 and level 120 Storm build for Wizard101. And in this video I'm going to be showing you some of the best setups that you can definitely do to improve your Wizard, or just the next theory craft build that you can do and run for your Wizard, whichever you prefer. In this video I will show you the overall stats, and then I'll jump into each piece of gear, and then I will conclude the video with a deck setup as well as an in-combat fight or battle phase kind of thing to show you the damage output that I'm actually be doing when I throw up like a blade on myself and then throwing like a Stormlord or other different spells. So let's go ahead and jump straight into the overall setup, and I'll show you guys the stats and everything with it. So since I'm only 120, I'm running this 120 setup, but I will show you all it takes is just swapping out one little gear jewel and you can get max crit at 125 no problem with this setup. But I'm gonna go ahead and show you the overall setup here, and this is what it is. So you have 130 damage overall with 37 across the board, or sorry, 36 across the board with 40 resist to storm. You have 31 storm accuracy, which is more than enough. Just keep in mind, if you plan on using things like the Iron Sultan or the Rasulka's Wraith, you need 35 accuracy instead of 30 accuracy, just so you do not stop, or just so you do not fizzle. You need 35 there. You do not have the 5k health, which is a bummer, but you're pretty close to it, so within the next world or so you may get the 5k health, or depending on your jewels you may also get the 5k health earlier or sooner there, but that's there. The critical, for 120 it has to be 795, for 125 it has to be 815 critical. Since I'm still at 120, I'm only running 799 to get my max crit. When I go to 125, which I'm leveling there soon, it's just taking a little while because it's kind of boring. But as I'm leveling to max level, I have to get 16 more critical, which I can just throw in a crit jewel. But I will lose a little bit of armor piercing, but I'll show you that later in the video. My block is only 8% now. When I go up to 125, this should jump down to probably 1% or 2%. I really don't know. I think it's just going to drop down to 1% or 2%, but right now it's at 8%, so it's something, I guess. 34 armor piercing is huge for this setup. This is kind of like an upgraded version of my 120, my 120 storm setup a while back ago. This is an upgraded version of it, but this will drop when you go to 125 because you have to take out one of the 6% pierce jewels and throw in critical so you can get your max critical. So you'll eventually drop down to about 28 armor piercing, which is still really good. But for right now I'm enjoying the 34 armor piercing, which is really incredible for this setup. You have the 5 stun resist in your armor, or this is in, I believe, my amulet, but you can have it in your amulet, you can have it in, I think, your ring, you can have it in your wand, depending on the wand. You can have it in your deck, wherever you really want to put the 5 stun res, but make sure to have at least 5 stun res, just because if you plan on using TC Conviction, TC Conviction is really good. If you don't know what TC is, it's treasure card, by the way, but TC Conviction is really good, especially in Darkmoor, where you get 95 stun resist off that, and then 5 resist off your gear, so you have 100% stun resist. So if you go into Darkmoor, especially the graveyard, and they go to stun you each time you throw a blade, you can block that 100% of the time, so you have 100% upkeep, which is really good. Your incoming is actually lower than anticipated, but you have 27 outgoing in case you ever have to heal someone else. I don't know why you would, but you have it there just for that. But your incoming's a little bit low, and you could probably raise this with the more incoming jewels. So instead of running more stun resist, I know you can get up to probably like 15-20% because you have so many square sockets now on either your wands, your jewelry, or your deck. You can throw some of those 5% incoming square sockets to raise your incoming, so when the healer goes to heal you, you get more incoming. and that's what I recommend. Have at least 5% here, and then the rest goes into incoming if you can help it. The back page, you're going to have a 100% power pip chance. This is important because you do not like new pips. I know a lot of people now, or I've been seeing them run 80 and 90% power pip chance, which is still pretty good, and they say is good, but yet I still hear them complain once in a while saying, hey, I keep getting a lot of new pips, and I got like 3 or 4 new pips, and it's just, I don't like to have it. If you can hit max power pip chance, go for it. You won't regret it. Pip conversions at 2%. You don't really need this too much, but it's just something extra to go for if you ever want it. I'm sure if you get to 125, that may increase or decrease. I think it will increase just because the base also increases each time you level up. So that may increase to like 3 or 4%, who knows. And then your shadow pip chance is only 6%. Now, if you want to make some changes in your jewelry and stuff like that, you can definitely go higher than 6%. Unfortunately for this setup, I'm just mainly relying on damage, max power pip chance, max accuracy, critical, and armor piercing. That's all I really care about. Everything else is just secondary. But let's go ahead and jump into the overall, each individual piece and why I run it. Malastair gear is standard. You must have this piece of gear if you want this. You can go for the Sardonyx one, level 96 crafted. You can definitely get a good hat off that, but Malastair is definitely your best hat in game for Storm. Same for the robe. It's always been Malastair. It will always be Malastair unless KI posts something a whole lot better than this, which I don't see that coming anytime soon, because this gives you 25 Storm accuracy, which is insanity. When you only need 30%, you already got 25 off the robe alone. Boots. These are the Professor shoes. You are not running the new boots in the new one. The Kabbalist boots you don't need anymore in Times Warden. You could run. You do sacrifice damage from the Kabbalist boots to these boots. I think you lose almost 10 damage, about 8 damage total. Or no, sorry. Yeah, you do lose like, 12 damage or something like that from the Kabbalist boots. No. Yeah, you might. Kabbalist boots gives you like 32 or something like that. So yeah, you lose about 11 damage total. So you do lose a little bit of damage off the Kabbalist shoes, but this gives you more critical, and it's really good because it gives you both accuracy and power pip chance. And what I've noticed is when I tend to use the Kabbalist shoes, I start to struggle with power pip chance, and I like to have max power pip chance. So I switch to these boots that give me both the accuracy and the armor piercing, plus gives me relatively good resist, even though I don't really care for it, and high health. But there's those. The wand will be the Fortune Teller Eternal Gaze wand. Now, when you get to 125, or if you're already at 125, definitely go for the 120 version. I don't think there's a 125 version, but there is definitely a 120 version of this wand. It gives you 10 storm damage, 125 crit and crit block, and 5 armor piercing. Definitely get that if you have it. Unfortunately, I never really bothered to upgrade to the 120 version. I always ran the 223 guitar critical wand, and now with this setup I have to run this just because I get more armor piercing off of it, and I can still keep max critical while using this. Plus I also get 9 more damage, which is really nice, and it makes up for the lack of damage I lose from switching from Time Warden shoes to the Professor boots, or if you switch from the Kabbalah shoes to these boots, you kind of gain a little bit of that back from the new wand improvement. The dagger, you're going to be running the Morganth. I simply ran this just because I wanted 1 more damage than the Darkmoor one. You can run the Darkmoor one. It gives you 2 more accuracy, so you're a little bit closer to 35, so you can use Rusalka without fizzling less. You get more power pip chance on the Darkmoor. Pretty much you get more sustain on the Darkmoor one, but you do get more offensive with the Morganth. And you do lose 15 incoming, so that's why you saw I only had 12 incoming and 27 outgoing. So you do lose that, which is unfortunate, but I wanted just 1 more damage to see how high I can go without losing max power pip chance and max accuracy. If you have enough to like get rid of it, so like this will gain you 2 more power pip chance and 2 more accuracy. Since I had like 102 power pip chance, I can give up 2 power pip chance. Since I have more than 30 accuracy, I can give up 2 accuracy as well. So I had no problem moving up to the Morganth. But sometimes that 2 extra percentage can actually help you out at times. Your new, or the same necklace will be the Shane Von Shane necklace. Now when you go to 120 version and you get the new 120 wand here, you get 7 more points here, and then when you go to 125, the ring, you'll have to throw in a crit jewel into that, and you'll get an extra 16 or 17 depending on the rarity of the jewel. And between that, you can actually swap the necklace here to the Morganth one, and it will give you 5 less, which is perfectly fine because you make that up from your wand and the crit jewel. And then also you get the blade off the Morganth one. So when you're at the 125 version, or the 125 setup of this, definitely go the Morganth route. You definitely get a blade. I will probably still be running this over the Morganth just because the blade is nice, but I like the bubble a little bit more because it applies to 4 of my storm spells instead of just 1. And the extra armor piercing is very nice. I really like the 2% additional armor piercing than it has over the Morganth. Plus the storm shield's very nice in case you like to run Darkmoor Malice there. The the shadow shield, sorry, not storm shield. The shadow shield is actually very beneficial, just to reduce your damage intake, which is pretty nice. The ring will be the Mimic Ring. This is the new improvement. Since you're running the Fortune Teller wand, you need more critical output. Compared to this, to the Guitar wand where it has 223, you're losing about 100 critical, which is no problem because you can make up that 100 crit on this ring right here. This is the Mimic Ring. The downside of this ring, it gives you no power pip chance whatsoever. So that's why I also had to move to the Professor boots, because that's where I can make up a little bit of that power pip loss. However, I do get almost 100 critical, and I still keep relatively high damage off this, about the same damage as the Plant Ring, just 2 less, but it's also the exact same damage as the Alpha Mega Ring. If you're at the 120 version, you're going to use the Armor Piercing Jewel instead for more pierce. If you're at the 125 level, then remove that Armor Piercing Jewel and throw in critical. The reason why you need the crit is just so you can get that 815 mark for max crit. The square here can actually be used for more incoming, so you can get an extra 5% there if you have another 5%. And then also on the same for the necklace, that 15 flat res can actually be changed to 10 or 5 more incoming, giving you a total of 10 more additional incoming between these two pieces here. So my overall setup should have 22 incoming so far, just between the gear, but since I don't have the Lack and Jewels, it's only 12. We're going to skip the pet for now. I'll show you that at the end. The Battle Narwhal is the mount to get. Unfortunately, they don't have the Polarian bundle anymore, so you'll have to buy the Battle Mage now, which still gives you a mount that's fairly decent. That gives you 2% damage. It's still a pretty big mount, but it gives you 2% universal damage, is really good. It only costs $39.99, so essentially $40-ish. And if you don't want this, the bundle or anything like that, but you want to try your chance with the Gulcher, you can definitely buy the Gulcher packs and try to get 3 damage on a mount instead of 2. If you get lucky with it, definitely go for it. If you feel like you don't have luck and you definitely want something that guarantees you to get something, definitely buy the bundle and you'll get at least 2 damage off of it rather than 3, but it's something you can improve at and get more damage. The deck is the Rasputin deck. This does not have to change unless you want to change it. There is another alternative deck that's actually even better than this deck, but it takes an extremely long time to get, depending on your luck. That is from the Beastman Fight Club. Beastman Fight Club released just recently with the New World and Imperia. It is supposed to be the hardest dungeon to this to date. I think even harder than Medulla. I think so. And essentially in there, it gives you 6 more critical. That's all it really does. Is it gives you 1 more block, a few more health, but 6 more crit points. So it's not that big of a change. But if you want the best of the best, it's a deck you can grind for. Just be mindful that in the Beastman Fight Club dungeon, there is no chest. So you cannot run it once and then just spend 2,000 crowns and get the deck, probably. You have to repeatedly run Beastman Fight Club multiple times. But in doing so, I think there's a badge. If you defeat Beastman Fight Club like 100 times or something like that, you get a pretty nifty badge from it. So there's something else you can kind of grind for or get while you're trying to get the deck. So if you want the deck, go for it. Rasputin's still a perfectly fine substitution, but it gives you 6 more crit points, which could help out. And then finally, the pet has changed. You want this pet here. This is a triple crit and damage pet. It's max stat, gives you 10 dealer. I got it on a Gulcher. Just get it on any pet you really need. All you really need from the pet is just the Storm Blade. So if you get it on a Storm Bull or a Storm Beast or anything like that, it's perfectly acceptable. I got it on the Gulcher because the person I was hatching with had a Gulcher, and out of the deal I also get a 25% Windstorm, which is pretty good. And then the bubble gives me crit and armor piercing. I just wish it was the 35% bubble instead, but the armor piercing and crit is just extra in case you need more armor piercing. You get, I think, an additional 20% on that, so it's like TC Infoul plus this. You get 40% more armor piercing, which is pretty nice. As you can see, this is your deck setup. You're not running a whole lot, and the reason for that is because you want to pull your things that matter most importantly quick. Also, to just show you the overall setup again, you have low resist. Well, it's actually pretty high, but you're not meant to be a tank. So you want to get your cards up as quick as possible and hit as fast as you can. You have one reshuffle to reshuffle all these back. So if you burn through all these cards and he's still not dead, you can reshuffle yourself, no problem. You still have your pet blade here, your amulet, whatever the card gives you here, preferably a blade, but if you have Galvanic Field off the Shame on Shane necklace, definitely run it, as it causes 0 pips and it lasts for 4 rounds, and it gives you 5% more accuracy, which is pretty nice. So if you use this, you can actually go with a 31 plus the 5 off the bubble and use stuff like Rusalka or Iron Man that needs 35 accuracy just to power it 100%. So you can actually use these 2 spells with the Galvanic Field, so that's pretty nice. And then you also have the Windstorm, and if you want to add the extra bubble, you can. Usually I don't. I just run the blades in the Galvanic Field, and I do perfectly fine here. The TC deck setup changes. This is usually what I usually run. Extra glow bugs, because glow bug is your main AoE hit, plus you have 30 armor or 30 accuracy, so you're always non-fizzling these or not fizzling these. You have 2 clinch charms because they are your universal out. I guarantee you, and I recommend every wizard should have these, as these are the best card in the game. Without a doubt, these, in my opinion, are the best cards in the game. Because they literally cleanse you of 1 negative charm. That could be Juju, a weakness, an accuracy, a dispel. And the cool thing about it is if someone hits you, say with like a Sirens, and puts a 50 on you and your ally, you can use the clinch charm on your ally, and if it powers, you first remove the accuracy off yourself because you're using a spell. Second, if it powers, you're cleansing your ally, so they have a 100% chance of using whatever they want to use without fizzling it. And if it doesn't power, you at least remove the negative charm off of yourself just by using the spell. So it's essentially a 2-for-1 if there's a weakness on someone else, or if there's like an accuracy debuff, it's a 2-for-1, which is really nice. Also, another thing I want to point out is sometimes in newer worlds, if there's an increase in health or a boss or something like that, or if I know they crit on me a little bit more than I want to, I will substitute Stormlord out for Sirens, and I will hit on turn 3. So I have 2 rounds to blade up and then hit with Sirens, or I'll hit on turn 2 with Stormlord by blading once and then throwing Stormlord and killing them, depending on their health and whether or not they have high block or not. But that's your overall setup, guys. Let me go ahead and show you in Unicorn Way just a quick preview of what one blade and a Stormlord can do every single turn, because you have 100% power pip chance, 100% accuracy, 100% chance critical, and 130 damage. So you can do this every 2 rounds, every single time you get into the fight. Throw a blade, throw a Stormlord, and hit for this much damage. So let me go ahead and jump to that part in the video. Alright, and we're back. Okay, so this is going to be just a test of the battle phase that you will essentially have. with just throwing one Stormblade and a Stormlord right off the back. Turn 2 happens 100% of the time, no problem. It's going to be a 30% Stormblade just to show you essentially like the smallest blade I can throw for the biggest amount of damage I can do every second turn of every fight. These wands are in there just in case someone else joins me and I want to get out of the fight. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and jump into a fight here. And we're going to show you what I can do every second turn of any battle. And I also got a Shadow Pip in case you want to throw bugs if you put it in your deck. But for this instance, I'm just going to throw glow bugs. Or Stormlord, sorry. Alright, round 2, max power pip chance, got 7 pips already. Don't have to worry about fizzling this because there's no debuff on me and I have 100% accuracy. And now I got 100% chance crit. Since this is a low level mob, I know he has 100% of not blocking it. And now I just get to watch the damage output. So 5908, almost 6,000 damage. I can do that every turn. Every turn I can do that, or every second turn of any battle. I can hit all the enemies for 6,000 damage, no problem. So that's the overall setup, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. And if you have any questions or concerns, or if you would like to hatch with this pet, sorry, that's the mount. This pet. If you'd like to hatch with this pet, it will be in the kiosk. The name will actually change. It will not be Happy Midnight. It may stay as that, but it will probably be something with Toby. Preferably probably Captain Toby. I like that name. And that will probably be in the kiosk, or if you want to get a direct hatch with me, just join the Discord and we'll schedule a time and we can definitely get on, and you can get me a whole lot better instead of commenting in the video. But if you just join the Discord, you can just @message me, and you'll also be in there with other people that will have pets equivalent to this or even better. So anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in another video soon.